Welcome to the Marketing Stir podcast by Stirista, where we chat with industry leaders and get their take on the challenges facing the market. And maybe we'll have a little fun along the way. On this week's episode of the Marketing Stir, Iyer joins Ajay and Vincent to discuss his role as a pioneer in the account-based marketing space, as well as how Kwanzoo has evolved as a company since its inception.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another episode of Stirista's The Marketing Stir. I am your host, Vincent Petrofessa. It is so good to be talking to you. So great to be here with you. Thank you so much. It's been a nice few months. As we know, the conference season is winding down, and a lot of people have been coming up to me and saying, I love your podcast, man. Is AJ always like that? Just mellow and you're always like so crazy? I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's why it works. That's him all the time. He is the mysterious man behind the curtain, as one guest recently pointed out. But let's pause for a second, talk about Stirista just for like 15 seconds. We are a marketing technology company. We own our own business-to-business data, business-to-consumer data, and then we have the technology to help you get new customers through our email sending platform, our demand-side platform. Email me, vincent@stirista.com. That is how confident I am. I just gave you my email address. The other thing I'm confident in is my CEO, my co-host. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ajay Gupta. What's going on, AJ?
Hey, Vincent, getting excited here. In a couple of days, I'll be headed your way to New York. It feels like I just saw you, but there is more time to make more magic here.
Exactly. It is a magical season in New York come November, December. Everybody knows that is the Silver Apple Awards. AJ's receiving the Innovation Award, the Disruptor. I love it. What a great title, the Disruptor. I, of course, am hosting it, the 40th annual. By the time this came out, we had a blast. It was fun. Another great evening in New York City, I'm sure. But yet, yes, much deserved. Hopefully, he's also, I told him we're going to need a nice haircut by that time. He's already shaved. You know me, I'm like the police when it comes to grooming. So he'll be ready to go.
You and our friend Ruth Stevens, they're definitely my hair police in New York.
Exactly. And she will be there to talk to you about it. So it's going to be a great night. Already breaking numbers, the Silver Apple Awards, as far as people who are attending. It is in New York in a couple of days here. So yeah, but another thing I'm excited about, AJ, our next guest. I know this guest personally. It's not every day on our podcast that we have someone we know. A lot of people we meet, and then there are pals for life. A lot of people hear me say that, and I mean it. We've already done a little bit of Marketing Stir preview with this gentleman. He was just in Alpharetta, Georgia, with me and Mike Hiltz. You're going to love him. Such a great organization. He is the CEO and founder of Kwanzoo. Mr. Mani Iyer. What's going on, Mani?
Hey, Vince. Good to meet you. And hey, Ajay, good to reconnect after all those, I guess a few months ago, we met in San Antonio.
That's right. We had a nice breakfast together.
Yes, sir.
Mani, let's get right into it. Tell us about Kwanzoo, your role, of course, CEO and founder. CEO oftentimes, like my own CEO, many hats you're wearing. Tell the audience about Kwanzoo as well as your role within the organization.
Yeah, Kwanzoo, we've been building this business. It's been, several years. When we first started, we started more as a platform. We were really thinking about how to engage, right? Prospects, be it consumers, be it businesses. So that was the origin story of our business. But then in 2015-16, as you know, the B2B marketing went through a big evolution where before then, a lot of B2B marketing was just marketing. There was a marketing automation tools where you would send out emails, and it was primarily email driven. And then, the whole marketing world in B2B came up with the idea that, hey, marketing should work the way sales tends to work, which is in B2B, you're going after a company. So you have a set of buying group, buying team, buying committee that you need to reach and engage and get all of them interested in what you have to offer. And so marketing came up with the idea of, call it ABM, or account-based marketing. So we were one of the early players in the ABM category, if you will. And our early foray in the ABM space was around more of in the area around account-based advertising, meaning how do you reach and engage people you care about at companies you want to reach. So we were one of the early players in the ABM advertising space. And then in the last several years, we've evolved into more of we call it a growth platform for B2B companies. We sell primarily into the mid-market. So we have customers like WordPress, VIP, Service Channel, so software companies, IT services companies like, Infosys, Zorient, several others. And then where we've been truly innovating is an area where we are seeing a further evolution from account-based marketing into, some of the other players in the space have been calling it account-based go-to-market, which is think beyond marketing to think about marketing and sales and customer success and how they all can kind of align and work together in driving, right, revenue driving growth for a B2B company. So we've seen that evolution. We've also been, call it adapting our technology to what customers are asking for, customers are demanding. And I would say the most interesting recent innovation we built something around is, maybe we can get into that some more, is we call it person-level visitor identity, which is go beyond the company to figure out who's landing on a B2B company's website down to an individual, because we believe that is the more interesting, more actionable data and information that sales people really want, and they can use in action and then to drive more pipeline and growth.
Yeah, and let's dig into that a little bit, because you hear a lot of companies, Mani, talking about on the B2B side. Well, yeah, I could show you the company that came to your site. Well, all right, well, then I got to target that person. Like, how do I do that? I need, the person who buys my products and services is this title, that title. Talk to us how you're able to drill down on that, because that's interesting. I love the play you talked about, because ABM, a lot of companies talk about ABM, but go to market. I love that. Elaborate on all that.
Yeah, so as I said, the evolution we've seen is from just batch and blast emails, right, through marketing automation tools, to the next step was so-called ABM tools or ABM platforms, right, which can give you some information, insight on the companies that are engaging with your business, and then the buying group or buying team that's engaging. But then where they stop is they might give you a little bit of information at a persona level, right? You have a VP of marketing that's on your site, or maybe a director of IT on your site, but then they stop there. Now, that's not enough information for your typical sales dev person inside sales SDR, BDR to go action, right? And reach out and engage the right person in that target organization. So we truly locked in on this problem, if you will, right? A couple of years ago. And we are, at this point, we believe one of the more mature technologies that's available that can reach and engage, first of all, ID prospects at an individual level on a B2B company website. So we call it person-level visitor identity, as opposed to account-level visitor identity, which is what the typical ABM products do today, right? So that's been the big thing for us. We've got several customers that are deploying this technology. They're generating hundreds of warm leads every month, right, using this tech straight off of their website. Now, the question I get asked a lot, okay, how does this really work? Right? So there's really behind the scenes, there's a large audience database, and the database has what we call cookies. There's a first-party cookies that when the person, an anonymous person, lands on a B2B company's website, it kind of connects the dots, if you will, to their email, a work email or a personal email, and from that to their entire profile. We kind of build the entire profile of who that person is. So you might have a personal email or a work email. The other way the tech works is really from the IP address of the person coming in, and then mapping it back to that email, and then from the email to the profile.
Mani, what made you start the company? What made you decide the industry is in need of something, and what was the specific thing that the industry needed?
Yeah, look, I mean, to be honest, before this, I had another company I built, and so, it was acquired by a large public company. People saw a very different business, right? It was in the e-learning space. So when we first got started with this company, Kwanzoo, I mean, as I said, we weren't honestly very clear on, are we focusing on consumers, or are we focusing on businesses? And as I said, around 2015, 16, we decided to really sharpen our focus on B2B, because we felt that the B2B segment of the market probably the marketing tech, sales tech at that time at least was a little bit behind. B2C was more mature, so we saw a bigger opportunity on the B2B side. And then again, based on our background, our interest, again, that also made sense, right? Because we had more background selling into enterprises than into, consumers. So a couple of things that caused us to focus on the B2B side of things. And then it's been a bit of a journey, discovering, where the real need is, customer need or demand or interest might be. And so we've been riding along on the ABM train. And then now, as I said, we've kind of broken off. And because one of our key learnings over the last couple of years, Ajay, has been that honestly, ABM technology seem to have peaked out a little bit. They've kind of stopped, if you will, in the innovation track in trying to answer the fundamental question that we believe marketers have, which is at the end of the day, businesses sell to, there are people on the seller side selling to people on the buyer side. It's really people selling to people. But I think they seem to have forgotten that, okay, somehow you got to connect the dots to get down to the individual on the other side that a marketing organization can reach and engage. So we think ABM, which has since become ABGTM or account-based GTM go-to-market across marketing, sales, and CS, it's time for the next evolution, which is to go down to the person level. So in fact, not many people are talking about it, but we want to really start pushing the envelope and start the conversation, if you will, around person-based GTM, a person-based go-to-market. How do you go down to the individual or person level and connect the dots a lot better than it's being done today? And honestly, let's be honest, it's a bit of a mess. Lots of tools across the entire tech stack. Lots of point tools on the marketing side, sales side. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to kind of bring it all together, consolidate it, make it streamline. And that's kind of at least our view of the world.
Every good entrepreneur looks at the market and looks like you listen to the market and built a product around it.
You got to evolve, you got to pivot, and you're absolutely right. So that's kind of where, we kind of broke off from the ABM, ABGTM world. We positioned it more as a growth platform. And then we've been leading with this person-level visitor identity tech as our lead-in into these customers. And what's interesting is we are seeing many of the customers who are signing up with us, they use us with those tools. They use us with an ABM platform, ABGTM tool or technology, because those platforms aren't giving them the answers they want on this, especially on the inside sales and sales side of the house.
So, you interact with a lot of sales teams and you've been doing this for a while. What have you seen kind of change with the B2B sales over the last several years that you've been doing it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of changes happening, from what we're seeing. People, I mean, and honestly, you'll see a lot of this all over the industry. If you follow enough sales influencers and leaders and CROs and revenue leaders on LinkedIn and across the web, similar themes that I'm sure people are going to find out there. One is that people are being flooded with inbound emails, and so email response rates have been dropping, right? Similarly, people have been getting hit a lot with messages on LinkedIn. So that, again, it's been a harder way to engage, folks in general. Obviously, there's another whole trend that's happening around, which hopefully we'll get to at some point, which is around whole AI and how AI is kind of changing and making it easier for people to create a lot of even personalized, one-to-one personalized messaging and content, be it in marketing emails, be it in sales emails, be it in LinkedIn messaging, all the cadences and touch sequences that people have always had, be it through sales engagement tools like a SalesLoft or an Outreach or similar. I mean, all of those are changing, right? There's a newer breed of tools that have come up, which are making it easier to do multi-touch email sequences, which are a lot more one-to-one personalized. And so those are some new breed of tools, that have come up. And so that is certainly one big area we're seeing change. The bottom line is people are engaging less and less with standardized cookie cutter sales emails. They just don't. Some people are saying, honestly, that phone calls are making a comeback. And so you do have some tools that are doing pretty damn well. I mean, the underlying problem, challenge, issue, which we haven't talked about, let's just call it what it is it's just a big mess in terms of the data. So data is a huge, huge problem across all these organizations. The way the data is made available to sales teams, to marketing teams, the lack of good, clean, curated data that can be used across the entire organization, and it's available, call it day one, right? Rather than having individual sales guys do the hunting and pecking and trying to find, okay, you know what, I got to call into this account, I want to call into these contacts. Let me go find the data that I want now. So there's two schools of thought that we see on that front too, by the way. Some companies are, just laying it all out and prepping the whole thing and making it available to their entire sales team, marketing team, right, day one. And the others think that they should take a more of a drip feed approach, right, across marketing and sales.
And Mani, you mentioned the data. It's in different silos. How does one bring that data together? Talk to us about that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think that continues to be a big challenge. I think certainly it's a huge struggle what we're seeing as if you go into we can probably segment the market. If you look at SMBs and high-tech startups, they have one set of challenges around all the data that they need to put together, aggregate, have curated data available, and they don't necessarily have the staff in-house to be able to do a lot of that work. So some of them, of course, are looking at some newer tools that help you kind of go. I mean, one that people are talking about is Clay, for example. Clay.com is one of them, and there are probably others in that category which can help you quickly get the data you want in different areas, be it account data, be it contact data, and it is enriched at a field level or attribute level, right? You can make sure that work email is accurate, make sure the personal email, that the LinkedIn URL is accurate or the mobile number is accurate. So that's one class of tools we're seeing, certainly in the SMB segment, some of those kinds of tools are coming in. The more you go into the mid-market or larger enterprise, they are all trying to figure out how do I curate and aggregate data from multiple data sources, partners, and providers. Another thing, of course, is a lot of the data, which is engagement data, behavioral data that they need to make sense of. And there, of course, people are using, it might be a data warehouse, it might be a CDP, some type of tool where it's external to marketing automation, external to CRM, they bring in all the data together and then trying to make it, bring it to a form that they can operationalize. And then they feed it back into their different systems to run programs and campaigns.
Mani, I want to pull something from, how I was talking about earlier, how I first kind of met you and came across you as these short form stories. In your opinion, how could marketers and companies put together these short form stories, this content to kind of get their message out to some of their prospects or clients?
One of our big aha moments was, I'll be honest with you. Last year, if you went on my LinkedIn, I used to spend a lot of time writing these long form posts, lots and lots of text, maybe a screenshot here and there. Honestly, nobody paid any attention. And the crazy thing is, you cut it way down, you put out like a 2-minute video. And I think, Vince, that's probably what you were referring to earlier in this podcast of ours. Engagement has gone way up. I mean, literally, we see thousands, all the way, several thousands of views on every one of these 2-minute videos. Some are followers, some are already, engaged with us in some way. They're part of my LinkedIn connection network, some are not. Engagement levels are a lot higher if you go shorter in terms of short form video. So typically what I found works is each video, it's better to keep it to just one key idea or theme or concept. There's a few rules of thumb that I tend to follow on these kind of videos. Have something to say that's maybe a little bit, call it insightful, unique, thoughtful, then just put something out like something people already talked about. Have something to say that maybe they haven't heard about. Second is, of course, I find customer stories. People love it. So one thing interesting we've done lately is if I go and have a lunch or, say with a customer, I ask them, and of course I tell them in advance, hey, would you be okay to do like a 2-minute short video? And right at the end of our lunch or so forth, we just put a 2-minute, just put the iPhone up and put a 2-minute video together. Just a couple of quick questions, Q&A. Those have engaged extremely well. And I think people see that as authentic, right? Because you're hearing straight from the customer and it's in a casual approach, casual setting. It's, nothing formal. That seems to be the new thing. So I found that something unique, something you have to say, a customer story seems to work well. We've also tested like short form whiteboard videos. Explain a concept in very simple terms. Always helps.
So I'm sure you get a lot of messages from people on LinkedIn. What's a message that gets your attention, and what's one that really annoys you?
Oh man, I think people can tell real quick if a message these days on LinkedIn is real, call it authentic, or it's yet another message sequence being churned out by some automated tool. I would say shorter the better. I would say get straight to the point. I also think as there's just an increasing amount of noise in all these channels, it's become that much more important to reach out and engage through introductions and referrals. So I think referrals and relationships are making a huge comeback, right? I mean, they never went away, to be honest, but I think they're becoming even that much more important. I mean, an area we are really trying to organize on our side, and hopefully this is true for many of the folks right listening and all of us, is how to leverage all the partnerships, relationships, potential referral and introductions that we might be able to get, and not just for us as an individual, maybe us as a founder, Ajay, right, between you and I, but across the team. How do you make that process a little more streamlined, automate, and repeatable, and do it in the right way?
And you're very active in person as well, to your point. So what are some of the trade shows you recommend people visit?
So I think on the B2B side, I went for one very recently that I found very, very useful, was GTM 2024, and they're going to have a 2025 conference, I think, coming up next year. I think April, May of next year, from what I remember. That's run by the folks at Pavilion, Pavilion, that they have over 5,500 revenue leaders, marketing leaders, sales leaders that are part of their and it's a very vibrant online Slack channel, Slack community. And so I'm a recent member, but I think that's a good one. Another one, of course, I know Vince, you and we recently visited the B2B Marketing Exchange East. And from what I understand, the Marketing Exchange West, which is the bigger show, which is going to have 15,000 or so people, this one had, a couple of thousand or less, right? So that would be an interesting one. Dreamforce, the main event, gets very busy, but I think there are side events. So, for example, there's one called OpStars that I went to, which was pretty good at Dreamforce. And then I think there's some very focused events for marketing ops people. There's one happening next week called Opsapalooza, I think in LA. I'm not going to go for that, but I know if you're in marketing ops, sales ops, revenue ops, that's a good one. So it depends on the audience, but I would say these are for the revenue leader, marketing sales leaders, the GTM is a good one. And then, as we said, the Dreamforce affiliated events are the ones and then B2B Marketing Exchange. Those are the ones that I can think of.
No, I like it. Yeah, I think we're going to do the West this year. We commented and we kind of did a video on the East, and we're like, small, intimate. We knew a lot of people at the end of it, but the West might be a little bit bigger. We'll try that. Mani, before we let you go, some innovations you're looking forward to in our world in 2025. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, we are super excited. We just literally discovered that there's an opportunity to go beyond the current suite of intent data products that are out there, which are all account level intent, right? If you look at I won't mention too many names, but everybody knows who they are. But they can literally just give you a list of companies that are showing engagement or intent across the web. We've just discovered there's now new data available where you can go down to the person or individual level all across the web. So not just the person level, buyers that we are able to uncover for customers and on their own website. But imagine the power of being able to do it all across the web, where they literally can give us a list of 20, 30 topics of interest. And for those topics, we say, here are the products and solutions that are showing interest all across the web for your solution category. And then to be able to give them a list of literally hot leads, from across the web. And they could pick and choose from that. And so recency, so say somebody engaging all across the web in the last 24 hours, in the last week, and then prioritize by who's been hitting more website domains all across the web. So this is the new thing we're super excited about. So going beyond person level on their own website to person level and getting intent all across the web. We call it off-site hot leads. Make sense? And now this becomes a feeder. And then this kind of data, we think, is actually the linchpin for all the new AI apps that are coming up. So you have AI agents. So if you look at AI agents, there's a whole bunch of AI agents and AI applications that have come in marketing on the content side. Content marketing, product marketing is transforming because of all the new AI tech. You're also seeing a lot of AI tech happening on the sales side, AI SDRs and so forth, right? Another area we see a lot of evolution happening is in AI for growth marketing. So demand gen leaders, growth leaders. But the common theme across all of this is they need highly accurate, curated data. So we're pretty encouraged and we're pretty enthused about the opportunity around data. That's going to funnel the next, breed of AI apps that are going to come in and completely transform B2B marketing and sales.
I love it. You mentioned AI in the beginning, and I love how you put a nice little bow on it. Manny, just final question. What does Manny like to do for fun? What do you like to do on the weekends? What are your hobbies these days?
These days, try to play some pickleball when I can, just a way to get out of the house and, get some exercise. The other thing is weekend hikes with a bunch of buddies and a couple of things that, I love to do if I'm not, here at a computer like the rest of us.
Well, that's awesome. I know a few pickleball players right on this podcast, mainly Mr. Gupta there. He big fan. Next time you're in San Antonio, you guys got to, break out the paddles. But Manny, this has been great. It is great to see you. I was so happy to have met you in person. Look forward to hanging with you more and more, this year and then next year. But this has been great. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Manny Iyer. He is the founder and CEO of Kwanzoo. Look him up, check him out. Go to Kwanzoo, check out the videos that he makes, check out the platform. It's excellent. I've actually seen it. It is an amazing product, made an amazing solution. That's the disruptor himself, Mr. Ajay Gupta. I'm Vincent Petrofessa. This has been another episode of The Marketing Stir. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Stir podcast by Stirista. Please like and subscribe. If you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, please email us at themarketingstir@stirista.com.